So now we get to the crux of applications. These are the sorts of application questions you're going to be coming up against. We call them competency-based questions, but you'll see what they focus on is examples. Give me an example of a time you've done something. When was the last time you used a particular skill? And this is the important part of this whole process. You always need to talk through examples when you're answering questions. However they ask these questions, in whatever form of word they use, you need to be talking through an example when you're answering. Now, happily, we actually have a sort of formula for how to answer these questions, and it's called STAR. The STAR technique is a simple acronym that you use to construct your answers to these questions, whether it's an actual answer or it's one of those paragraphs in a supporting statement. And it stands for situation, task, action, and result. The first two sort of go together. You describe the situation, so when and where did this happen, and then the task, what were you trying to achieve, what did you have to do? Those two parts of your answer are fairly small, they set the scene. Then you've got your action. This is probably the biggest part of your answer. What you did, but also how you did it. You have to give almost a level of detail that is a little bit embarrassing. You have to treat the person asking this question as though they have no idea what you're talking about. You have to go over the basics. That way you actually sound like you know what you're talking about. So not just the what, but the how. How did you do this thing? And then you finish with the result. What happened as a result of what you did? And once you've given that result, that's where you stop. That's where you stop writing, stop talking, whatever. It can be a bit of a challenge trying to figure out when to finish, but once you've given the result, that's when you are finished giving your answer. And to show you how this works, if we think back to that recruitment process, you will basically be scored on these answers. So imagine you're the person reviewing this, you're the interviewer, and this is what you've asked. Give me an example of a time when you've worked well as part of a team, and this is the answer they've given. Play football twice a week as part of a county team. We've won 6 out of 8 matches this season. What are you going to give it? Are you going to give this a 0 as no evidence, or are you going to give it a 3, a detailed account, or something in between? Have a think, and we'll come back to this. It will vary depending on the interviewer, the reviewer of the question, but generally speaking, this, you would at most get a 1. Maybe some experience, but it lacks evidence. I have known people who would give it a 0 as no evidence. If you think about the STAR technique, they might, you could argue, have given you a situation, playing football. They've not really given you a task. They've given you a result, but there's no action there. You don't see that they actually understand what it is to work as part of a team. There's no specific example. Now I'm going to add 2 sentences to this answer and see how much you think that's made it better. And here you can see, just with those 2 sentences, how much it makes it better. During matches, I listen to teammates for instructions, paying attention, anticipating their moves, communicate with the coach about how I can play better. So already they're showing you that they understand what it means to work as part of a team. And consequently, it does score better. Now, I've given it a 3 here. It might be more like a 2, depending on your marker. If it's a 0 to 5 scale though, it doesn't get higher than a 3. There are things you could do to make this even stronger. What I would say is you need to give me a specific example, a specific match that you won because you knew how to work as part of a team, and how did you do that? The more specific, the better. So some other examples you can see on this leadership one, if you look at things like the task and the action here, how specific they are being. So 40 volunteers, 500 competitors, they're actually quantifying, they're giving me specific details that tell me that actually this did happen, this is a specific time. That makes it stronger. And then in the action, I did this by doing, they're giving me that how. This is what you need to be doing, this is that level of detail that we need. Something even stronger still, if you look at this example on influence and persuasion, They've contacted 25 companies. They're telling me in loads of detail how they did these things in order to effectively communicate the concept, pull together a presentation, supporting documentation. Hopefully you're seeing this is the level of detail that we need. You don't need to write a huge amount, you just need to give me the level of detail that shows me that actually, yes, you do understand how to influence and persuade. You do understand how to actually work as part of a team. You can do this fairly easily and fairly quickly. It just takes a little bit of practice. Now, of course, it's not going to solve all your problems. You've still got to find the examples themselves. And in the next video and the last video of this playlist, we're going to be looking at how to actually come up with those examples, where they come from, and common mistakes to avoid.